and welcome back to the GC channel. I'm your host, Orlando Casares, the president and founder of FLI International. If you're new with us, welcome. This is a channel especially for you, for the GCs and for in-house legal teams, and it's powered by general counsels. We'll be covering today some of the trendiest topics, things that keep you up at night, and we hope that you will find the next few minutes invaluable and very insightful. So follow us along. Welcome to our GC channel for our next interview. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome Victoria Brackett, who is someone who does not need an introduction within FLI. Vicky is someone who's very dear to FLI, but also someone who represents one of our strategic partners in Europe and primarily in the UK, but also members of the FLI board. So I'd like to welcome you, Vicky. Welcome to the GC channel, and we look forward to showcasing you as a person, but also what you're doing within Irwin Mitchell. As I prepare for these interviews, and you know that we've been doing this for months, and we've interviewed a number of guests and VIPs. This is actually the first time that we've interviewed a partner. Most of the time we interview clients, and our audience, our virtual audience around the world, they want to know what the clients have to say. So all the lawyers are really keen to hear what this general counsel or associate general counsel wants to say. But I think that this is probably going to be one of the interviews that has the greatest degree of reviews, because you're bringing into the interview a very illustrious background. And as my team here did the research on your background, we were just stunned at the career that spans a few decades. So let me start out with your starting point, right? So you're a Warwick University law graduate. Right. So what was that like? What was it going up there in the countryside and going to such a stellar university?
It was great. I was my mum had gone to university in the evenings because she'd had to leave school very early. So I was kind of first generation to go, and very much encouraged and supported by my family to go. And we lived in the Peak District in Derbyshire, and I was determined to be away from home, but obviously also somewhere where there was a strong reputation. And my ambition was to combine my linguistic ability, so I was doing A-levels in foreign languages, with law. And Warwick gave me the opportunity, and it was one of the first universities at the time. I think there were 4 in the UK that did it, to actually do German law and English law. So I'm not a qualified German lawyer, but I spent a year as part of my degree in Germany at university doing their first year law qualifications. So that was an amazing opportunity. And I think already at that age opened my eyes to the possibilities globally for us, cultural differences and the importance of those, and also the opportunities that arise from those. So I think it gave me a really good grounding from an international perspective.
I think so. It seems to me, as we were looking back, I mean, we're talking 1993. And so I thought, wow, here is someone who already at a very early stage of her career knew that international was going to be ultimately the space that she was going to make a name for herself. So that was very commendable. Now, before we jump into the interview, because we have a number of topics that everyone is want to hear about, I thought we start out with something more about you, the person. And maybe some people may not know that. I mean, maybe your closer circle will know, but not many people will know something that is very dear to your heart, which is that you're a trustee and a chair to the PSDS charity, which is providing support for children in Down syndrome. Why is that so special to you? Because that ties into this amazing production that Irwin Mitchell just put together recently on Massive Inclusive. And I want to hear all about that, because the audience is going to be very happy to hear about it.
Yeah, and again, sort of before it all became really important from a commercial point of view, neurodiversity. My son was diagnosed with Down syndrome when he was born. He's nearly 16 now. And that was he was undiagnosed in pregnancy. So a real surprise to us. And when we looked around for support for him at a very early age, there was nothing there. So together with two other ladies who were amazing, who I befriended through them also having children with Down syndrome, we formed a very small charity, six mums, and got some speech therapy for our kids because there was nothing out there. And that's grown now to over 120 families. We provide full educational support in preschool years, right through to school, training teachers in terms of the learning profile of children with Down syndrome, and are now looking at our teenage strategy around how we encourage independence and friendships in that community and get them integrated into our community. I'm really lucky that Sam, my son, has stayed in mainstream school right up to year 11, so he will be leaving at the end of this year. I can't quite believe that my baby is leaving school. And we're looking at the next stage of his life, but he's very well integrated into the community. And I just really support the neurodiversity inclusion agenda that is live at the moment in this country and across the world, because the benefits we get from people who have different challenges in life are just incredible. And it's taught me something and it's changed me as a person. So I've been really fortunate to have that background, but of course also a very busy trustee because we're constantly raising money and having to run it as a business. There's a lot of obligations around the trustees. I have a great trustee group that I work with really closely, and it's again just a bit of a richness to who I am and what I bring, I think.
Well, and that was to me very telling. You and I have been working in a professional setting for years now. But there's this part of the persona that what we only came to know now. And I was very impressed. We always like to rewrite history and edit the parts of our lives that we don't want the world to know. And yet you seized this challenge that life threw you. And you've done something amazing. You said 130 families that have been enriched as a result of your big heart to want to do something for your own son. But in the process, a lot of other teenagers are also dealing with life in a much better place. How did that make you feel as a person to actually see this flourish over the years?
A bit surprised, I think, if I'm completely honest, humbled. It's interesting. My son actually doesn't get the benefit because we try everything out on him because he's one of the oldest in the charity. So by the time he's finished with it, it's perfect for the people coming through. But I think there's a huge amount, isn't there? There's a team of trustees that do this. That's an incredibly empowering environment to be in because they're all doing that for free. They're all doing that out of the goodness of their heart and because they feel passionate about it. And working with people who are passionate about a purpose is really, really it's just so motivating and so inspiring. So I think I'm inspired by them. I'm inspired by the children. I mean, these children and young adults that we work with just do not let anything get in their way. And some of the days where we're all having a bit of a grumble, just think of some of the challenges that they face every day, and we hear no moans at all, and they just get on with it and they take what they can. And then the families themselves who, go from being overly joyful about these children through to really, really in despair about how they can find the best support. And it's not the best, agenda to navigate, and being able to help them navigate that, I think is personally rewarding. I don't do it for the personal gain. I do it for the children, but obviously through that you learn about yourself. I think I've learned a lot about leadership as well. And I've learned a lot about other people and thinking before I engage with people, and whilst I'm engaging with people, about how they may be feeling, what might be going on in the background in their own lives. As you say, it's not something you and I have really talked about before, but that's going on in my day-to-day life every day. And I think just remembering that occasionally is really important.
It's very interesting. You pointed out that challenged is framed who you are as a person, but it's also made you a better leader. And I think that the world could use a little compassionate and kindness in being a strong leader, right? I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to be a dislikable, cantankerous person to be a tough leader because you're feared. You could be just as empathetic and compassionate and kind, and yet be firm. With your subordinates and those that report to you, and you can still inspire them to action. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I was talking actually yesterday with someone who looks at personal effectiveness and personal development, because I'm quite passionate about that. I believe there's a better us in all of us. I think, we work with some amazing people, but there's always something to aspire for. And if you're going to aspire and help people to aspire, you have to be really honest with some of the things they do need to continue to develop. But those who are willing to learn embrace that really well. And if it's presented in the right way, that can be a real opportunity for them to move forward. But getting that right sometimes is a bit tricky, and having difficult conversations is a bit difficult. But I think trying to frame it properly around their improvement, their development, them being better in their role, and I think it can still be inspirational. Don't always get it right, but when you do get it right, you really know, and you see those people fly. And isn't that an amazing thing to work with people and alongside people and for people and as their leader and see them fly themselves? I mean, that's what we want for our kids, and that's what we want for the people we work with. And I that's rewarding every day for me when I see that happen.
Well, thank you for watching. If you would like to see more videos like this one, subscribe to the channel and press the notification button below so that you will be alerted when new videos come out. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to the next one. And don't forget, you heard it here first.